Oh, Molly.
All right, well, let me tell you that there's a big dance craze hitting this country, right across the country, called Bus Stop, and more about that in a minute, because the big news, of course, is what you saw earlier in the show, that the Mentals are barnstorming the UK. They jumped a staggering 11 places this week, going from number 19 to number 8, and that's a pretty big effort. But when you consider that Australian groups have a really hard time breaking into the UK charts, that's a big, big effort. The follow-up single will be You're So Strong, and the Fundamental album will be released there on March the 1st. So go Mentals. And I tell you what, when you talk about big efforts, across the Atlantic in America, Crowded House are doing the same there. Their current single, Don't Dream It's Over, has bulleted from 34 to 23 on the US charts this week, and their self-titled album has gone from 67 to 54. And when you consider also that Pseudo Echo are now the hit pick in the US this week, it's, I tell you what, you could call it a big Aussie invasion, so go boys. All right, I'm heading off overseas this week, and coming up in the show over the next couple of months will be exclusive interviews with Bon Jovi and Cinderella, who are in fact touring America at the moment on a heavy metal tour, or a heavy rock tour they call it, and they have promised they'll come to Australia later this year. And there'll also be exclusive interviews with Billy Idol, Dead or Alive, and would you believe Boy George, who in fact is releasing his first solo single, and I believe that the heroin days are now really behind him, and he's in fact taken up Buddhism, so it'll be good to catch up with George. Also from America, the much anticipated album by Michael Jackson still hasn't been released. It was supposed to be released this month, but I now believe it's been put back to August, and I also believe that they haven't yet worked out what the title will be. But what I do know is that at the same time in August, they're releasing the first single of the Michael Jackson album called Liberian Girl. Now, that will be followed with another single pretty quickly called Bad, and everyone is raving about this single that have heard it, including Steve Stevens, who in fact played on the album. He said it's quite sensational, so something to look forward to, and I believe they're going to do a big video concept around Bad, which is going to cost millions. All right, talking about dancing, the reason I'm here on the Hippodrome dance floor is that the new dance craze I told you about before, I really believe could sweep Australia. Now, this dance is totally unique to this country. It's just popped up from somewhere. It's called Bus Stop. Now, everyone's dancing to this track, which is also called Bus Stop, which was released by Fatback in the early 70s. It's, in fact, a really hot track. I really like it. And two dance tracks that are worth noting is this one first off. This is really hot, this track. It's by a New York group called Man to Man, and it's called Male Stripper. That's already a big one on the charts. And this one by Paul Lekakis called Boom Boom. So enough from me, and back to you, back to the show. Boom Boom.